My name is Leonard, I'm 40 years old, and this story I'm about to tell happened to me 2 years ago. I'm a medical graduate and still practice my profession to this day. Well, more or less. I don't consider myself a doctor. I consider myself a monster. In college, I met the love of my life. We got married and set up our own office. Soon we started thinking about having children, and both of us wanted a girl. The practice was doing very well, and we had enough to provide a comfortable life for the baby, but I wanted something much better than that. That's when my studies began, and I started my postgraduate degree. Soon, my daughter was born. Yes, it was a girl. Our hearts were filled with joy. Emma brought a completely new dimension to our lives. Time passed, and I specialized in cell regeneration, delving much deeper into my research. I managed to enter a research field where I could test everything in my thesis. I studied for almost 10 years and always believed that the human body could function entirely after being completely shut down. What I am trying to say is that, according to my studies, it was possible to bring a person back to life by injecting microorganisms that generated small electrical impulses throughout the body, replacing damaged or lost cells. I never got to test it on a human body, but I knew it was possible. My life was getting more perfect every day when suddenly an event changed everything. At night, during my studies on campus, my wife stayed home with Emma. On one of those nights, burglars broke in and held my family hostage. My wife tried to resist and was shot in front of Emma. That day, for me, my life was over. I never thought of living without her. What would I do? I had the right tool in my hands. I could bring her back to life. I knew it. So before the funeral, I took her body to the office and was about to administer the vaccine. That's when my daughter arrived and said, "No, Daddy, now Mommy is in heaven, don't do it." At that moment, I started to cry and realized how insane what I was trying to do. My daughter and I continued with our lives and became even closer than ever because the pain was the same. Sometime later, fate managed to be even crueler to me. I was at the park with Emma playing in the sand, and she, very happy, was singing her favorite song. That's when an out-of-control pickup truck crashed through the fence, running over my daughter and taking her life. At that moment, I was devastated. I couldn't believe it. What did God have against me? Was he angry because I found the cure for death? I believe so. This time, I couldn't accept the situation and took Emma to my office. There, I administered the injection that would bring her back to life. And it worked. I saw my daughter rise from the bed, still a little frightened, but she was alive. So I hugged her tightly and took her home. My research had worked, and the person I loved most in this life was by my side again. Time passed, and after the resurrection, Emma never spoke again. I started to find everything very strange. She didn't speak, had no facial expression. It seemed like only the body was there, not her essence. But I didn't care. Just seeing her walking towards me was enough. One day I woke up in the middle of the night and heard Emma singing. It was the same song she was singing minutes before the accident that killed her. I got out of bed and went to the living room, and there she was, sitting on the floor, singing. I told her to get up and go to bed because it wasn't time to play. Then she got up and slowly walked towards me, stared at me for a few seconds, and then grabbed my neck, trying to strangle me. I couldn't break free. She had an abnormal strength. So I pushed her and managed to get her away from me. She came at me again, and all the time I kept shouting, "Emma, it's your dad!" But she didn't hear me. At that moment, I was sure that my daughter Emma wasn't there in that body. There were only electrical impulses moving a structure of flesh and bone. At that moment, I grabbed the gun from the desk drawer and shot Emma in the head. She continued moving as if nothing had happened. That's when I was forced to dismember her. With an axe, I cut piece by piece from my daughter. Now, do you understand why I consider myself a monster? Today, I still wonder what I came to do on this earth. I created a demonic weapon that, if it falls into the wrong hands, could destroy humanity. I am alone, without a family, and I resurrected my daughter just to kill her again. But despite saying that I considered myself a monster deep down, I don't blame myself for it. Sometimes we do crazy things to be with the ones we love, right? And you? If you could bring back someone who's gone, would you? In the video description, there are links to horror and thriller books in case you want to buy. And if you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe.